Welcome to the virtual college exploration for North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at CACRAO.org. That's CACRAO.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, CACRAO.org. That's CACRAO.org. I would now like to turn it over to our presenters.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Ed, Brad, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. Guys, my name is Justin Durham, and I'm an admissions representative for NASCAR Technical Institute, and happy to be with you guys today discussing technical education and careers in the skilled trades. That's the path I took personally right after high school, and it worked well, and it launched me into my career early, 2 days after I turned 20, and I've been in that field and tied to it for quite some time now. We have also Brad Meekum with us today with UTI and Universal Technical Institute. He's waving at you there, and Mr. Ed Kuhl with MMI, which is the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute and the Marine Mechanics Institute. You'll hear from both of them as we roll through this presentation and this workshop. A little bit of housekeeping on the front end. You guys are probably pros at this, you know this, but we should keep you pretty engaged, so just stay tuned in and take some notes. Be prepared to use the chat function for questions. Brad's going to be monitoring that, and I think we'll get to probably all of them, and we encourage questions for sure. Make sure that your mic is muted as well if it's not already. A little bit of an agenda today. We'll jump into why we're here and talking about the advantages of trade and technical schools and the technical education. We'll have some good data and good conversation around degree versus certifications and credentials. We'll talk about different types of programs that are available to you guys, different education pathways. We'll talk about how we pay for school. And we refer to it as investing in yourself. I say that personally as well, because anything worth having likely is going to require an investment of time, effort, energy, money. And of course, not all of us are sitting on money. So how can we get to schools of our choice? We're also going to talk about the very real demand for the skilled trades or professionals in the skilled trades, and a lot of those industries being essential positions, which we've witnessed over the past year quite a bit. And we'll also talk about something referred to as the skills gap. And then speed to career. Like, one of the advantages, and I think one of the things that draws students to look at career schools, is the length of time they're in school. And as opposed to 2.5, 4 to 5+ years, they can be in their careers significantly quicker. So we'll speak to that. And we have an opportunity to hear from some employers, national employers across the Carolinas, talking about what they're willing to pay people in the skilled trades and incentives that they have to attract people to go to work in these fields. And again, take some notes, and we'll open it up to Q&A, and we'll monitor the chat log. Feel free to throw questions at us throughout this, but then we'll make sure that we get to it by the end as well. And at that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ed Kuhl.
Thanks, Justin. So I really appreciate everybody jumping on this morning and taking a look at the advantages of technical colleges and technical careers. So this is what we're talking about, figuring out why. What's the road to your success? That's about self-evaluation and finding out and identifying, what do you like to do? What's the best fit for you? If you're the academic type, you have options. If you're the hands-on visual learner, you have options. If you can't sit still, you have options. If you're the creative, artistic type, you definitely have options. But this helps you also identify what kind of careers are out there. And then more importantly is career planning. And then you definitely should take a look at a focus-driven education. That means focusing on, again, what you're good at and what's out there to see if there's a good match for you but more clearly and more importantly, with today's advanced technologies, making sure that whatever career that you decide, that it's going to be here for the next 10, 15, 20 years, right? So we're going to discuss those things, but here's the one slide that we like to share with people. And, you know, for the last 30 years, you've always been hearing people say, hey, if you want to be successful in life, after you graduate high school, you need to go to college, four-year university or college. And that's not necessarily true. This chart here was put out by a consulting firm, which got with the Department of Labor. And if you take a look on the left, it says 20.5%. So of all the jobs in the United States, only 20% require a four-year college degree. That's it. So out of 10 jobs, 2 of them require a college degree. Out of 100, 20 require a college degree. So 80%, the other 80% of all the jobs in the United States do not require a degree. They require some type of credentials-based certifications. Now on the right here, of the students that are fortunate enough to go to a four-year college or university and graduate, according to this statistic, 48%, almost half, possibly could get into a career or occupations that don't even require a college degree. So they are degreed, they do have a college, however, they're not using that degree, or they're underemployed, meaning that they do have a college degree, but they're in a career that doesn't require it and they're getting paid less than what they should be getting. So when you graduate high school, you actually have 5 options when you graduate. And we're going to discuss each one of those real quick. And we're going to go with what takes the longest amount of time invested to the shortest amount of time. Because as Justin shared with you before, it's all about speed to career. So listen, this bottom one right here, college degree. If you want to be that doctor, the nurse, the scientist, an engineer, a banker, an investor, a teacher, you have to go to a four-year college or university. That's the minimum requirement to get in. And it takes the average person in the United States 4 to 6 years to complete that four-year college degree. And again, if that's for you, I think that's fantastic. If you take a look over here, those are books you're still going to have to go in and take 4 more years of, you know, British literature and English and US government, calculus and psychology, music, art, sociology. And those are great courses for you to expand on. But again, that's got to be the right fit for you, right? That's term papers, book reports, and essays. You're going to continue that. That's how they learn in that academic environment. But a four-year college, we can all agree, is not for everyone. So you do have another option, right? And that's the military. The military is a great option for some folks. It's not for everyone, but it is an option. Now, the military, the typical enlistment is about 4 years. That's where you raise your right hand, you swear to defend the Constitution, and swear to defend the United States against all enemies. That's where you wear a uniform. You'll typically get stations in another state or another country and you get deployed. Military is a great option for folks. Just wanted to share that with you. But again, it's not for everyone. Then you have on-the-job training. That's where a company will hire you and pay and train you at the same time. So for example, in Virginia, you have the Hampton Roads Naval Shipyard. That's where they actually build naval ships and aircraft carriers. And it's pretty cool. They actually have a wonderful apprenticeship program. They will hire you, pay you, and train you to be a pipe fitter or a welder. And they make very good money, but it's really strict and competitive to get into that program. If you have 1 speeding ticket, you're not qualified for that program, right? So they're only taking the best of the best. So and that takes about 3 to 4 years to get through their apprenticeship and training program. You have another option, which is your local community college. And those are always great because you still get to live with mom and dad. You get to eat their food. You get their free internet, Wi-Fi. You get their mom, hopefully, to do your laundry. So it's comfortable. You don't have to go far from home. And it takes about 2 to 3 years at the community college level. Again, take a look at that setting. You're still going to have to take your English, your US government, your world history, and your academics. Most people will actually start out 2 years at the community college. And then once they've gotten that under their belt, they'll actually transfer down here and do their final couple of years at a 4-year institution. And for some people, that works very well for them. They're kind of dipping their toe into the water to see if it's a good fit, right? And then, of course, you have another one, and the one that's the quickest and the fastest is a skills-based training. Now, that's what schools like ours are like, and that's what schools that maybe you folks are looking into. All right, so It doesn't matter the career. You might be going into or want to go into cosmetology. Maybe you want to go into be a phlebotomist where you're taking blood from people. Maybe you want to be a dental technician, maybe an x-ray technician, maybe culinary, maybe building trades or an electrician or a lineman. Or in our worlds, you know, with Motorcycle and Marine Mechanics Institute or Universal or NASCAR, that's where we're into automotive and racing and diesels and cars and trucks and bikes and boats and all that stuff. So these are definitely hands-on careers. Now, at schools like ours, we can get you trained and certified in as little as 9 to 17 months. That's it. You're done. Put into the workforce, making very good money. Now, I always like to share a success story. We have tons of them, but one that's really close to me is my son. Now, my son was not a great candidate in high school. He did not like sitting through English, history, government classes. All right. I had counselors and teachers tell me all the time, Mr. Cool, your son's got ADD. He can't sit still. He's not paying attention. I'm like, stop right there. Time out. My son does not have ADD. He's got IDC. And I don't care what kind of medication's out there. There's nothing that can fix IDC. And IDC stands for I don't care. My son did not care about pronouns and prepositions. English was not his best class. Now, that doesn't mean my son's less intelligent. On the contrary, he's a terribly, terribly bright young man. However, he just did not have the fortitude to sit through English and economics and history classes, just didn't like it. He was the hands-on kid, couldn't sit still, tearing stuff up, always on the move, you know, playing sports and stuff. That was him. So he actually elected to go to our school, and he took automotive and diesel and Nissan Affinity. It took him about 18 months to get through the program. And when he graduated, he became a diesel technician. So he's working on great big trucks and ships and cranes and dump trucks and all that stuff. He's 26. Last year, he bought his first house, $220,000 home in South Carolina. He's not married, no children, has a new Dodge Cummins 3500 diesel pickup truck. He's got a race car and a 44-foot trailer. My son's been drifting since age 14. So the point I'm trying to make is that somebody who at a young age found something that fit for him, and he actually went to our school, graduated, got into the industry terribly early in 18 months, started making very good money, and he's actually doing the things that he wants to do. So my challenge for you is this. On this slide right here, where do you fit in? What's the best fit for you? And that's between you and whomever else you talk to, your counselors, your parents, and your teachers. But you're the one that has to do this, not them, whether it be for 9 months or whether it be for 5 or 6 years. So that's the gift of this slide right here. And that's where you should definitely take a look at what's out there, but what you're good at, right? Now, again, the skills gap, right? There is a huge skills gap in our industries today. We need, you know, body repair and millwrights and aircraft mechanics. We need avionics technicians and plumbers. We need dental techs, and we need, you know, dental hygienists. We need people doing x-rays and, you know, working with physical therapists. And we need those, right? And that goes back to what I said earlier. When you're looking at careers, please make sure that you're looking at a career that's going to be around for the next 10 to 15, 20 years. You know, we talk about statisticians, people going to college and learning probability and statistics. Well, that's all being overtaken by artificial intelligence. Bankers and investors, artificial intelligence. In fact, the last time I used and walked into a bank was probably about 13 years ago. I do all my banking online. So preparing taxes and stuff like that, that's all done online now. Artificial intelligence and computer technology. So that's just to give you an idea that, hey, want to make sure that there's going to be a job and a career for you 10, 15, 20 years? Right here. People still need their homes built. People still need medical attention. People will always get sick. People need to eat. People need to travel. There is a robust economy. And then definitely, you know, you need your cars, your boats, your trucks, your bikes, all that stuff repaired. So that's where we're talking about this skills gap, right? We need people being plumbers and electricians and welders and pipe fitters and diesel techs and motorcycle technicians. Those jobs won't go away. So that's just some personal advice for you. Now, one of the things about investing in yourself, you heard Justin talk about that earlier. So let's take a look at this, right? So the impact of you investing, and what I mean by that is you know, you hear people putting money away in the savings. So we're going to use Bob here. So at the young age of 25, let's say my son's age, he started putting away $200 per month at the age of 25. So by the time he's 65, right here, right, he has put in $96,000. But if you look with investing, he actually has about $525,000 in savings, over $500,000, because he started at the age of 25 and he had a job or a career that allowed him to tuck away $200 a month. Now we're going to take a look at another person. We're going to say Jill. Now, Jill got a little bit later start. Maybe she started going to college, or she went to a technical college or something at the age of 35, right? She might have been a single mom and didn't have time for school. But at the age of 35, she was able to get enough money to tuck away $200 a month. Now, by the time she's 65, she's actually put in $72,000, and her savings is right around $250,000. So $250,000. And then let's say we're going to take another person who, you know, what they did was they waited to the absolute minimum. They didn't go to a technical college. They didn't go to a college. They didn't go to any type of education, no certifications. And then if you take a look at this right here, they started investing at the age of 45 and they put away $200. That's when they started making enough money to put away $200 a month. All right. So by the time they're 65, 20 years later, they've actually put in out of their pocket $48,000. But it's only worth $100,000. So that's the gift. And we're saying the sooner you start a career, the sooner you get into the workforce making very good money. If you as early as 20, 22, 23, then you start saving money over a longer period of time. And you could be, fortunate enough to have $500,000 or even more money in savings. So that's the gift of actually starting and getting into a career much earlier. All right, skills gap demand. Again, if you look at this slide, in our industry, the transportation and motorsports, 1.1 million job openings between now and 2028. And this is according to the Department of Labor. So they track all that data, right? So that comes from the US government. Now, we're talking about technologies and that. Again, people think that, when you're looking at a career like ours, you're just turning wrenches and you're a dirty, greasy mechanic. No. That's where your age group, you folks that are Z generation, you're exposed to laptops and tablets and technology and programming and your cell phones and, Xbox and PlayStations and all of those. So take a look at this right here. This Ford Raptor has built-in 4G Wi-Fi network. It's got laser radar, Doppler radar, GPS, navigation systems. It actually has 3 network systems, and it actually has up to 45 to 50 computers on board, all talking to each other every nanosecond. Now, for some of you folks that are the computer whizzes, take a look at this. There's over 100 million lines of code written in this vehicle, just coding. So, and every year, this exponentially gets larger and larger and larger. And now today, we have driverless vehicles, and they've actually started testing a flying vehicle that actually drives and flies. So this technology is definitely here, right? And when we're talking about speed to a career, take a look at this. Just in our world, our automotive program is only 12 months. And then our diesel program, 45 weeks. A racing program with NASCAR and Formula One, that is 11 months. Our collision repair, that's the body work and spray painting and stuff like that, that's 12 months. And then we've got a 9-month welding program. We've got a 9-month machining, which is manufacturing. We have a 9 to 12-month motorcycle program. And then we have a 1-year marine program. I know it's not 52 weeks, but we take 1 week off for Christmas, all right? And then, of course, we have our industry alliances with our dealerships and manufacturers. So we're the only school with over 35 industry relationships in the United States. So we have Porsche and GM and Cadillac and Chevy and Harley Davidson, Volvo and Honda, all of those programs. And in our world, it's all about certifications. In the technical fields, skills labor. So are you certified? Are you certified to do electrical work? Are you certified to be a lineman? Are you certified to be a dental tech? Are you certified to do x-rays, right? So it's all about the certifications. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a video with you. Please listen to the employers. Listen to what programs they have to offer, because some will actually pay back your student loans for you. And then they have tool, or they buy, help buy your tools for you. And then more importantly, listen closely to some of the income and how much they make per hour or per year in our industry. So look at this. So folks, can you guys hear that? I just need to ask that.
I was going to say, Ed, try to make sure you optimize that video.
Yes, will do. Thank you for that. Let me, all right, so we're going to try this one more time, folks. So.
The manufacturers would consider this a crisis right now as far as the shortage of technician goes. It's a demand for people who have the skills and ability to be able to diagnose these highly complex vehicles.
The amount of service business we're expecting to see in the next 3 years, we don't have the manpower to get it done.
Every day we're looking to bring on more technicians that are qualified.
One of the biggest reasons we go to UTI is because the quality of students we get from there.
These students are ready to work. When they come out of here, they're trained in the same work environment that our shops are.
We hire a lot of UTI students. We've hired close to 40 guys out of the GM program in the last 3 years.
We're currently about 50% UTI grads in all of Northwest Handling.
I've hired over 260 UTI graduates. I find them to be a lot more prepared for the industry, and especially if they take a manufacturer's course before they leave.
We especially love the manufacturer programs.
If they have a desire for racing and engines, coupled with their education at UTI, we know that we've got a winner.
That's the individual that we want to put in our company and help them grow and thrive and develop a career.
UTI is a good option. Not everybody wants an office job.
I always had an interest for cars, and I just wanted to take it to the next level.
You're always learning something new, and that's what I love about it.
Definitely the schooling was worth it. I would do it again.
UCI gives you a lot of resources to get a job.
You feel pretty comfortable when you leave MMI and you go to a dealership. It feels like you just walked out of school's dealership into an actual real life dealership.
When you need job placement and you need help with that stuff, they're there to support it.
I think if they were to look at the income potential right out of school, I think they would feel that it was a wise investment.
You can definitely make money here.
Technicians start around $15 an hour and go up from there. You get into my main service shop, you're in the $30 range.
Our average master level technician makes about $110,000 a year.
When you can make six figures as a mechanic, we all benefit from that.
We have a lot of benefits. We offer up to $22,000 in tuition reimbursement, as well as $2,000 in tool allowance.
If we find somebody we like and they need a few $1,000s to help move and relocate, we're more than happy to do that. When we find the guy we like, we're not going to let a little bit of money get in the way of hiring him.
So as you can see, there's definitely opportunities for you out there. And you heard some of these employers say that they'll pay, up to $22,000 in student loans. We have other employers that will pay $35,000 and $45,000 in student loans, and they're offering other options and programs for you. When you do look at your options out there, you definitely want to look at what the schools have to offer. So, just a few questions you might want to ask them is, hey, do you have a national footprint? Can you get me a job anywhere in the United States? Do they have a program where the employers pay back the tuition? So. Also, does the cost of tuition includes all your books and tools and ongoing refresher courses where you come back and take classes over again at no charge? Do they offer advanced placement opportunities, right? So do they have agreements with your high schools to where you can actually test out of programs? And do they offer coaching and nationwide employment? We do. And then, of course, these other questions are great questions to ask when you're actually choosing schools or technical colleges, technical schools, or even the military and those types of venues out there. So bottom line, it's, hey, these careers are in demand. They're never going to go away. It's the skills labor. They're career specific. So if you specifically want to be an electrician or a dental technician or a cosmetologist or a diesel tech or a race team, working in pit crew, you're very specific. Hands-on, and it's less than 2 years. And, these types of schools do not teach English, U.S. government, world history, sociology, music, art. We in our schools do not teach the academics, and we don't apologize for that. We teach specifically what you're going to use every day in the environment. So that's something that we're pretty excited about. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pass this back to Justin, and Justin's going to go over some financial aid information to share with you about how people fund technical schools and technical colleges. So Justin, you got that?
Yep, I'm good to go, Ed. Thanks. Can you hear me and can you see the screen as well? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So oftentimes students, one of the first questions they're asking and parents are thinking about as well is, hey, how do we pay for school? And funding technical education is very similar to funding an education at a traditional university or a community college. As long as you guys are considering a technical school that is accredited, then you probably have the opportunity to apply for federal financial aid. And that's where your family situation is looked at. You apply for FAFSA, which is the application for financial aid for accredited schools. That stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And there are likely some resources to help you get the FAFSA done, either with the schools that you're looking at, your top schools of choice, or online. But the FAFSA is that first step that allows us to apply for federal financial aid. And the term financial aid means it can include some grants, it can include some scholarships, it can include loans, but it's a package put together for individual students and their families. If you qualify for any grants, those are monies that reduce the tuition and do not have to be repaid. And typically the way that works is the higher the income in the family, the less likely that family is to qualify for grants. And the lower the income, the more likely they are to get some help on grants. But grants do not have to be repaid, and they can lower the tuition. And the amounts vary, but it's based again on income. Loans are no different than a car loan or a house loan or a home loan in the sense that they're paid back. And they typically have different terms. Most trade and technical schools, student loans might last 5 to 10 years. You're not going to see typically 15 and 20 year type student loans like you might see with more traditional schools. And that's just because of the tuition point sometimes. So loans again are repaid. Scholarships, that again is money that does not have to be repaid. And some scholarships are first come, first serve. So if you're paying attention early and you're talking to your counselors and to people at your school, and you're looking at schools and doing research, you may have an advantage because you're paying attention to in front of or ahead of other people. Some scholarships are needs-based, which most schools don't know that until you do the FAFSA and you look at the family income. And sometimes the tighter money is for a family, the more likely they are, or the larger amount of scholarships they may qualify for. Other scholarships are minority-based, and most scholarships that I've seen are able to be applied for online and are formatted for a smartphone. So if you're serious about scholarships, then there's probably ways for you to apply for them. Depending on the type of technical school you're looking at, there may be articulation agreements from your high school and those particular schools. And you would want to talk to your counselors about that. And if your high school has cosmetology, culinary, automotive, masonry, if you talk to those educators and those teachers in those classes, they may be able to explain that to you a little bit more. Again, some scholarships, backing up a little bit, are for being involved in groups and clubs at your high school, like Skills USA or like the FFA. And that's something to consider. And something I'll give you more details on in just a second, depending on the type of industry you're going into and how strong that demand is, you may see incentives from employers. Now, across the transportation industry, UTI graduates, NASCAR tech graduates, MMI grads, that's the norm. They can expect that they're going to be incentivized and they're going to have options and people to choose from, employers to choose from, that very well may help them pay for their education or offer other incentives. To give you a little more example on that, Ed mentioned, I mentioned, it was in that video as well, employers that are offering incentives to technicians in the skilled trades. UTI specifically has over several hundred companies and over 4,500 employer locations. They know UTI, they're used to hiring from us. And so when they hire UTI graduates, they have incentive programs. And one of the most common ones is tuition reimbursement. And basically that's a scholarship on the back end. You work for them, they pay you extra to help you pay for your education. But they know they're getting somebody who finished a program, somebody that's coachable and moldable. You invested in yourself, you committed to a specific industry. It's not a huge risk for them, but it's like a scholarship on the back end. You just got to go prove yourself on the front end. And what you're seeing on the screen now is examples of some companies that have specific incentive programs with UTI. In addition to tuition reimbursement, good candidates can also expect sign-on bonuses, tool allowances, relocation assistance. Somebody who's not up here, CarMax, right? They've been known to offer rent assistance for new hires. I know Hendrick Automotive Group also offers relocation, depending on the situation as well. This is just something for you guys to consider. If you're looking at the skilled trades and you're looking at a school that's recognized and works closely with an industry, you can expect some extra help because you're picking a field that's in demand. I'm going to hit pause for a second. Brad, I know you're monitoring the questions. If we get them, you got them handled?
All questions have been taken care of, Justin.
Okay. Oops. All right, back up here a little bit. So next steps for students that are considering technical schools, trade schools, continue to do your research, jump online, ask questions, and then get your name out there, right? And so people can reach out to you and provide extra information, provide details, dot the I's, cross the T's, have good conversations with you. If you see number 2 here, I would certainly encourage you, we would encourage you to talk to your parents sooner than later. Try not to wait to the end of senior year to throw something on them as far as what careers you're considering. They might take you more serious if you're bringing that up in 9th grade and 10th grade and 11th grade. And then, again, reach out to the schools. Obviously, the internet gives you a lot of information at your fingertips. But I would also encourage, if you're looking at a specific field, try to talk to employers in that industry. I'm pretty sure if you ask family members to help you out with that, they would be impressed that you're doing that, and they would set the time aside to help you do that. Of course, you want to talk to your professional school counselors, your educators, your teachers, and try to get some information from your high schools as well. Now, if what Ed, myself, what we've mentioned today about the transportation industry, about motorsports, about UTI or MMI, if that particularly grabs your attention, this page, you can scan the QR code and we will get some information to you. We will email you a catalog specific to our schools. We will also issue, I think Ed was going to show that on the screen real quick. We can also send you a workbook that matches a high school presentation, some of which we showed you today. Gives you resources, websites. Here it is right here. So over here on the left, this is a workbook. It's referred to as Navigating the Road Ahead. And it includes a self-evaluation to help with career exploration, even a cost of living budget sheet to get you thinking about what is it actually going to take for you to be independent and to be self-supportive. And it's got numbers on there from all over the country. This catalog, it's an electronic version of it. It's full of active links and tours of our campuses, and you can look further into UTI's programs. And then again, this one, that is a really useful tool for any high school student, whether you have a plan or you're just trying to get to the next class in the next grade and haven't even thought about it yet. That's a guide that UTI developed with partners. It's full of information. All the data we shared today, the sources, it's all in that particular workbook. And then it includes these 2 things on the right as well. I'm going to jump. There we go. Throw this QR code up again. This is my name and my contact information. Don't be a stranger. If you have a question about anything today, continue to throw them at us. If your QR code is not able to work, or if you're not able to use that, you can hit this website as well. And all that does is generate an email to me, and then I shoot you a text message and see what kind of questions you have. And again, UTI will send you those documents that we usually provide to students in high schools. Ed, would you like to add anything? Brad?
So just in closing, folks, just to remind you, thank you very much for getting on the call. And if you're viewing this from a recorded standpoint, we really appreciate you taking your time. Technical schools and technical colleges definitely have a lot of advantages just in time. Speed to get into the career. They're only going to teach and cover courses that are specific to that particular career, right? Not academics. They're definitely not teaching the English, history, and governments, types of courses and academics. They also tend to, garner pretty good income, as you heard on that, testimony and from the employer's video. And then more importantly, as you get into the industry a lot quicker, start making money quicker, therefore you invest quicker into your retirement. And then of course, you're living the American dream. Get that house, the cars, the trucks, the toys, the bikes, the boats, and then you go on with your life, not waiting to the absolute latest. Continue to keep this QR code. Justin will definitely, pass along your information. If you're interested in schools like ours, or definitely our schools and careers. I do want to thank Brad with Universal Technical Institute, Justin with NASCAR Technical Institute, and then of course, again, Ed Cool, I'm with Motorcycle and Marine Mechanics Institutes. We appreciate your time, and I think that'll end our session today. So thank you very much.
All right, so just to end up, thank you for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at CACRAO.org. That's CACRAO.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other session recordings at CACRAO.org. That's CACRAO.org. Thank you.
Appreciate you.